Thank you all for listening and watching my videos. Please subscribe and like my channel Master Coolitz. Hoping that you will not skip my ads. It's a big help for me by not skipping it. Thank you so much. Dragon Shadow. The Rise.
This was not something they could have witnessed in the past. The happiest one among them was none other than Brandon Hayes. Sitting in the audience, he was so excited that his whole body was trembling. He wished he could slap himself a few times to see if he was dreaming. The more successful Zane Martel was, the more immeasurable the benefits that Brandon Hayes could gain. He knew that Zane's victory would catapult their association to new heights. The potential for growth was staggering. His mind raced with the possibilities, each one more grandiose than the last.
Perfect fifth-grade medicinal pills.
Almost all the judges were shocked by this scene. Even they could barely refine a fifth-class pill without causing the cauldron to explode. To forge pills of perfect quality, they wouldn't even dream about it. At this moment, the faces of the Demon God sect members were extremely unsightly. It was as if they had eaten something foul, and the corners of their mouths kept twitching. They had come here expecting an easy victory, yet Zane's performance had thrown all their assumptions into disarray. As he got lost in his thoughts, he failed to realize that the flame in his hands had grown by half an inch. His concentration wavered, thoughts consumed by envy and a burning desire to outdo Zane. The subtle increase in the flame's intensity went unnoticed until it was too late. His usual meticulous control had slipped, and the consequences were immediate.
Oh no!
Victor Chen suddenly lowered his head and tried to adjust himself, but it was too late. The raging flames engulfed the entire cauldron. A bang could be heard. The furnace burst open, and Victor Chen was sent flying dozens of meters away by the strong blast wave. He fell to the ground like a limp piece of meat, looking extremely embarrassed. His robes were singed, and his face was covered in soot. He struggled to get up, his movements sluggish and uncoordinated. The once proud alchemist now lay in a heap, a stark contrast to the image of perfection he had always strived to maintain.
Haha. Look, Victor Chen, the alchemy genius of the Demon God sect, also has days where he makes the cauldron explode.
It's so funny. What kind of genius is he? He's not even as experienced as Master Lai.
That's right.
Seeing this, many people began to laugh at Victor Chen. The schadenfreude was palpable as those who had once feared and envied him now found joy in his misfortune. Their laughter echoed through the hall, a cruel reminder of his failure. Victor Chen could feel their mocking gazes piercing him, each one a dagger to his pride.
Damn it, how dare you, Zane?
Victor Chen staggered to his feet from the ground and glared at Zane Martel. If Victor Chen had gotten first place, he would have been the center of everyone's attention. He should have been the star of that day. However, Zane Martel's appearance had changed everything. At this moment, the azure green light pillar slowly disappeared, and 10 medicinal pills slowly landed in Zane Martel's hands. Even without asking the judges, it was obvious who won the alchemy conference. After a round of discussion, Samson Caldwell represented the judges and slowly stood up to make the announcement. The audience fell silent, all eyes on Samson, waiting for the official declaration. The tension was palpable as everyone held their breath.
The results of the alchemy conference have been determined. Master Lai has obtained first place with his perfect craftsmanship of the 3-line green spirit pill. As per the rules, he will be rewarded with the recipe for the martial breaking pill.
As he spoke, Samson Caldwell walked out and handed the recipe in his hands over to Zane Martel. The crowd erupted into applause, a mix of admiration and envy filling the air. Samson's eyes twinkled with genuine respect for Zane's skills, knowing that this moment would go down in alchemical history. The judges nodded in agreement, acknowledging the unparalleled expertise Zane had displayed.
Master Lai, the recipe is yours. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Almost everyone cast a passionate and greedy gaze at him. A martial breaking pill could increase the chances of breaking through to the expert level. It was very precious. The alchemists in the audience could hardly contain their excitement, whispering among themselves about the potential power the pill could grant. The value of the recipe was immeasurable, and everyone knew it. At this time, Victor Chen, Chloe Thompson, and Pharaoh had gathered together, and their faces were ugly. They huddled in a corner, their voices low and filled with anger. The defeat stung deeply, and they were not willing to accept it gracefully. Victor's eyes were blazing with rage, his mind already scheming ways to turn this around.
Victor, if you just chose a fourth grade pill, maybe the recipe for the Marshall breaking pill would be ours.
Shut up. Do you think you can tell me what to do? It doesn't matter who gets the recipe. In any case, the recipe will ultimately belong to the Demon God Sect. Zane must die.
He released endless killing intent. Zane Martell took the recipe and started to read it immediately. With his current cultivation, he could memorize everything. Therefore, just by looking at it once, he could completely remember its contents and details. Zane's eyes scanned the intricate details of the recipe, his mind absorbing the knowledge with ease. He knew this information was priceless, and that many would go to great lengths to obtain it. Suddenly, he seemed to realize that the Demon God Sect and the others were looking at him unkindly. He suddenly looked over and met Victor Chen's eyes.
Victor, guess what I'm holding in my hand?
Victor Chen's face was extremely ugly. His eyes narrowed and his jaw clenched tightly. The sight of Zane holding the precious recipe was infuriating.
So what if you manage to obtain the Marshall breaking pill recipe? It will belong to the Demon God Sect sooner or later. We have our ways of getting you to hand it over. If you know what's good for you, bring it over to me right now so that you won't have to suffer.
Seeing this, the corners of Zane Martell's mouth were lifted, and a strange smile hung on his face, causing a chill to run down Victor Chen's spine. Zane's confidence was unshakable, and it unnerved Victor deeply.
What do you want to do?
What do I want to do? Why don't you wait and see?
A dark green flame bloomed in Zane Martell's hand, burning the entire recipe to ashes. As the breeze blew, not even the ashes were left behind and dissipated in the air. Everyone was stunned by what they saw.
That is the recipe for a fifth grade Marshall breaking pill. How can he just burn it like that?
The corner of Victor Chen's mouth kept twitching, and he was so angry that he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Currently, other than Zane Martell and those who had written the recipe, no one else knew what the recipe contained. How was Victor Chen going to take it away now? The recipe had already been burned.
Good. You old bastard, just wait. The Demon God Sect has a lot of ways to get the recipe from you. Pharoah, Chloe Thompson, if you ever run into him outside, capture him alive.
The hall fell silent, tension crackling in the air. What would Victor Chen do next? They didn't dare to make a move in Seven Star Square. This was the Alchemist Association's territory. Then, with a soaring killing intent, Victor Chen turned around and left. Seeing this, Zane Martell smiled coldly.
Bring it on then.
Master Zane, do you want to go back now? Where do you live? I would love to visit you.
Brandon Hayes promptly walked in front of Zane Martell, cupped his hands and bowed.
Windfire Alliance. If you go there, you'll be able to meet me.
Windfire Alliance? Forgive me for being ignorant. I'm not sure where that is.
Haha, you'll know soon enough.
With that, Zane Martell left. When he passed through the crowd, his face changed. He turned into a strong man in his 40s and swaggered away from Seven Star Square, the pitiful assassin from the Demon God Sect, who was lying in ambush at the entrance of Seven Star Square, waited for nearly an entire day without seeing Zane Martell's figure. One day later in the Teng Chamber of Commerce, the three people, including Victor Chen, were so angry that their killing intent covered the whole hall. A stream of vital force, as sharp as a broadsword, suddenly rolled up and directly smashed the many medicinal pills, tables and chairs in the hall into pieces.
How dare you! Damn that old bastard! How dare he go against the Demon God Sect? He's courting death. Pharoah, didn't I ask you to bring some men back to capture Zane? Where is he now?
Victor Chen roared helplessly and shouted harshly. All around, Teng Shui, Trevor Collins, and Teng Kangmu were standing aside. They were trembling in fear, and no one dared to talk back against Victor Chen. Pharoah had a terrible expression on his face.
I've already sent people to ambush him, but they never saw him come out. It's very likely that he has transformed into a different look. I'm guessing that even his current appearance is one of his transformations.
Useless thing. You can't even do a small thing like this. You're a good-for-nothing.
The hall fell silent, tension crackling in the air. What would Victor Chen do next? In the dim light of the Teng Chamber of Commerce, tension crackled like static electricity. The once bustling hall was now a battleground of wits and egos. Shadows danced on the walls, flickering in the dim candlelight, as if echoing the volatile emotions of those within. Voices echoed through the hall, each word dripping with frustration and defiance.
That's enough, Victor Chen. You're too conceited. If we had stuck to the plan, we'd have the recipe by now.
Chloe Thompson's patience snapped like a brittle twig. Her words sliced through the air, aiming straight at Victor Chen. She had been part of this operation from the start, her strategic mind and meticulous planning often proving invaluable. Yet here she was, watching it all unravel because of Victor's arrogance.
Chloe Thompson, shut up. I'm the commander here. If you don't like it, leave.
Victor Chen's finger jabbed toward her, his authority absolute. His eyes blazed with indignation, the title of commander making him feel invincible. He had always been the one to call the shots, his word law among the members of the Demon God sect. Chloe Thompson, a formidable genius herself, seethed with indignation. She couldn't tolerate his high-handedness. She had seen too many plans falter under his reckless decisions.
You'll regret this. I'm reporting everything to our master.
Her voice trembled with anger as she stormed out, leaving a fuming Victor Chen and a petrified Teng family in her wake. The Teng family members exchanged nervous glances, the tension in the room palpable. They knew better than to interfere in the disputes of the Demon God sect, their survival hanging by a thread. The atmosphere was thick with unspoken threats and dread. Just then, a figure emerged from the shadows, his presence commanding respect and fear. The air seemed to grow colder, the room falling silent as eyes turned to the newcomer. It was Master Griffith, an experienced alchemist known for his cunning and skill. His reputation preceded him. Tales of his manipulative brilliance whispered in hushed tones.
Ha ha, young Master Victor Chen. What's gotten you so riled up? It's just a marshal-breaking pill recipe.
Victor Chen's eyes narrowed. Suspicion tinged his voice. The sudden appearance of Master Griffith could mean many things, none of them comforting. His mind raced, trying to decipher the hidden meanings behind Griffith's words.
What do you mean by that? You couldn't possibly...
Master Griffith's eyes glinted with mischief. He enjoyed these moments, the power he held over others' knowledge and desires. He had always been a step ahead, his intellect a weapon sharper than any blade.
As a judge, I glimpsed the recipe. I didn't see it all, but I can piece it together.
Victor Chen's frustration simmered down, replaced by a glimmer of hope. Could it be true? Could Master Griffith hold the key to their success? The possibility was tantalizing, a beacon of light in their otherwise dark predicament.
Really? Write it down, now.
But Master Griffith's pride stood firm. He had no intention of giving up his advantage so easily. His eyes bore into Victor's, a silent challenge that spoke volumes.
I'm the only one who can refine it, so I must be the one to do it.
Victor Chen silently cursed Master Griffith's cunning. The old fox wanted the glory for himself. He could see through Griffith's plan. This was an attempt to solidify his standing within the Demon God sect. Reluctantly, Victor Chen decided to play along, though his mind raced with potential contingencies. Soon, preparations were underway. Master Griffith, with an air of confident authority, directed the necessary items to be brought to him. The Teng family scrambled to fulfill his demands, fear evident in their every movement. Griffith's presence was like a storm cloud, dark and oppressive, as he retreated into a hidden chamber to begin the delicate process of refinement. The chamber door closed with an ominous thud, isolating him from prying eyes. Meanwhile, on the opposite side of the Teng Chamber of Commerce, another scene unfolded. In a well-lit, meticulously arranged room, Zane Martel of the Windfire Alliance stood ready. Before him lay 2 sets of precious medicinal materials and a 4th-grade cauldron borrowed from the Alchemist Association. The room was filled with an array of alchemical tools and ingredients, each carefully placed to ensure a smooth process.
Let's begin.
Zane Martel's voice was steady, his focus unwavering. He mentally rehearsed the recipe, ensuring every detail was crystal clear. His confidence stemmed from countless hours of study and preparation. Methodically, he began grounding the ingredients, the rhythmic motion soothing his mind. the room filled with the earthy scent of crushed herbs, creating an atmosphere of purpose. He consumed a 3 elements fire pill, unleashing a vibrant green flame that enveloped the cauldron. The heat intensified, white smoke curling into the air. The temperature in the room rose, beads of sweat forming on Zane's brow. Zane Martell flicked his fingers, skillfully feeding the spiritual herbs into the cauldron. Each movement was precise, his experience evident in the fluidity of his actions. Time ticked by, each second heavy with anticipation. The cauldron hummed with energy, the flames dancing in hypnotic patterns. Suddenly, chaos erupted. The flame, wild and untamed, surged out of control. The cauldron trembled violently, the contents within reacting unpredictably. With a deafening boom, the cauldron exploded, sending Zane Martell flying. Thankfully, Zane Martell's vital energy shielded him from harm. The room was a disaster, but he was undeterred. Shards of the cauldron lay scattered, and the once organized workspace was in disarray.
This pill is the hardest for a reason. I must have made a mistake with the heart fruit. I need to be more careful.
Zane Martell analyzed his failure, a rare occurrence given his usual success with the Dark Shadow. He meticulously reviewed each step, pinpointing where he had gone wrong. He cleaned up, regaining his composure and preparing to try again. Half an hour later, Zane Martell was ready. His movements were fluid, almost poetic. The dark green flames danced around the cauldron, casting eerie shadows. The room, now cleared of debris, seemed to hold its breath in anticipation.
I need to control the Divine Bow's 9 genuine flames if I want to master alchemy.
Deep in thought, Zane Martell continued his work. Each flame, each ingredient was a step closer to perfection. Meanwhile, in the secret chamber, Master Griffith faced his own trials. Another explosion rocked the chamber. Master Griffith's frustration boiled over. The chamber, filled with smoke and the scent of burnt herbs, was a testament to his struggle.
Why is this so difficult? It's exploded 3 times already. I don't believe it.
Undeterred, he persisted, despite his shaky memory of the recipe's finer points. Failure seemed inevitable, yet he refused to accept it. Each attempt was a lesson, each explosion a challenge to his expertise. Back in Zane Martell's chamber, the air crackled with tension. Green flames flickered, wrapping around the cauldron. Zane Martell's expression was grim, his concentration absolute. The stakes were high, and the pressure intense. He reached the final step, the crucial moment. The flames surged, turning the cauldron red hot. Zane Martell's heart pounded, his breath shallow. Each second was an eternity.
Condense.
A bright light burst from his eyes as vital energy flowed into the cauldron. The medicinal paste inside began to transform, reacting to his commands. Suddenly, a dark yellow light column shot from the cauldron, piercing the ceiling and reaching for the sky. The beam of light was blinding, drawing the gaze of everyone within a 10-kilometer radius. A unique, alluring fragrance filled the air, hinting at something extraordinary. What had Zane Martell unleashed?